and welcome to this new video, guys. So it is Jean-Jacques from Self-Built Systems, and I just quickly got my coffee. And we're gonna get straight into this new video. So today's video is all about the secret behind using AI in your business to scale to $30,000 in MRR, right? So this video is gonna be very thick because I'm gonna be unpacking everything that is currently happening with inside of AI, and I'm also gonna give you actual actionables, how you can look into implementing and using these tools at our disposal, because like I've said this before, we are not the people out there building the machines, yeah? So we need to find basically ways how we can implement them and drive efficiency, drive growth in our own businesses, right? So first things first, shots fired, pew pew, you know what I'm saying? So as you can see here, we have Battle Putty, and if you ever see Battle Putty, you know it's about to go down. So Alphabet stocks plunged, right? Now this all happened not too long ago, right? Now Alphabet stock plunged 100 billion after AI chatbot gives the wrong answers in an ad, right? So this is the line that we're taking with this. And before I start this video and really channel you down what's been happening and what has happened, I'm going to show you a quick little case study. And this case study was how we used Sentinel AGI, the AI, with regards to the processes that we have with inside of Self-Built Systems, and how we took those processes and we scaled one of our clients' companies, just to show you a proof of concept, right? So first here, we had an increase of growth rate on 18% on month over month, 18%, right? And then we specifically, we're going to look at this now, and then we're going to look at the physical example. So scaling by expanding market segments, messaging frameworks, and duplicating the mechanism. These are all the things that we looked into and how we actually use the AI to drive the efficiency, right? So duplicating the mechanism, aka Sentinel AGI, right? So what is important here is the importance of testing volume, okay, and winners and stacking iterations. We're not completely guessing here. We're testing volume and we're stacking iterations, right? And then before working with Self-Built Systems, our client, basically Matisse, he's from France. He was doing $1,000 in MRR with his education company, right? At a ticket price of around $300. So you can do the math on that end, right? So, and he was basically doing everything himself, right? He had one sales guy, one SDR basically, and he already burned $5,000 working with cheap, like retainer-orientated marketers that they didn't really have their incentives aligned, because their incentives were aligned with retainer, and we all know what that means, right? So group joins basically stagnated. He had a community of people, which we all know how important community is in this age that we are living in, this whole internet age, in this new world. Community is everything, right? But that was stagnant. It was not growing, right? And then we looked at, there was no client acquisition systems built. We obviously, companies called Self-Built Systems, so we had to come in, we had to look at all the systems, all the spec ops, the operational structures, the management, everything that's running, and we could obviously clearly see that there was no client acquisitions installed. So then we look at the SDRs, and basically we trained and we ramped, and we looked at the sales processes in general, sales contract, or not the sales contract, but the sales length, right? That drills down to the contract, etc., which is obviously what we optimized for. So after Matisse worked with us, he increased, like I said, we had a growth rate of 18% month over month. We updated lethal sales processes, and we built remote-based sales teams for Matisse. And we really ramped up that one rep for him, right? So we had a remote-based SDR team, and we had that one rep that was his initial closer, which I will show you right down below is the actual proof of what happened after we done that, right? So then we built and installed lethal sales and marketing funnels, and we increased the conversion rate by around 40%, which was massive for us, right? Based on the data that was ran and the data that was collected. So we built and installed new organic assets, specific content, and also strategies around that is replicatable by nature, right? Which then obviously we deployed on places like Twitter, YouTube, specifically YouTube here for his specific audience and segment of his market. A lot of his people, are always out there looking to get better. And yeah, organically, we helped him grow from around 30, like 20 to 30 subs, and we helped him scale to 620. I believe he's close to 650 now, with inside of like just under 6 weeks of working with us in that process, right? So we scaled to $30,000 in MRR with the end result within the 5 month, just under 5 months of working with us in total. But these strategies obviously were different towards the end result, right? And then, as I said, just under 5 months now, and he's on track to do 50K in MRR in this next month. So those are some of the results. I'm just going to show you some of these screenshots and obviously some of the cash that was collected. So based on the period of 5 months that he worked with us, there was a period where it was month 1, month 2, and after month 3, obviously, and after month 2, 3, and obviously for 5, there was a 3 month period in that 5 month period where they racked up 100K. Now that to me was very, very impressive with regards to what we have done and how the deals were closing. So yeah, that was really good for us to see that what we do is actually validated and works really, really well. And you can see here, these are the deal flow that closed. This was his, you can see Solitude. So his name is Matisse Solitude. And this is his, obviously, piece of his, and then his closer, Giannis, basically. Okay, Giannis was over here. And yeah, this blue piece was his, right? So that's with the cash that was collected with inside of their, I believe they were using Pipedrive. Yeah, can believe they were using Pipedrive. So another thing here is customer interview. You can go check out this customer interview here, click this link. And if you want access to this document where you want to go through this valuable information that's on here, it's super, super valuable, then I will either leave it in the link down below, or you can just comment Sentinel AGI, and I will send it directly over to you. Just leave a comment down in the comment section below. So main bottleneck here for Matisse specifically was client acquisition, right? So he already had product market fit, and he already had some sales that were closing, some deals that were coming through, but there was a lack, right? There was a lack thereof. And usually what we do is we step in the companies that we work with and we ask the question, right? How is the distribution? Where is it coming from? What are they currently doing? What are they not looking at, etc.? So we reverse the process and we really find that first problem that needs to be solved before we go. Like, we look into the heart of the machine that's currently running, but we need to be able to identify that specific thing that needs to be solved first before we can solve the other variables. For an example, if there's a bunch of variables on a straight line right here, and we need to solve it from here to here, usually there's a problem that people solve here first, okay? But usually we have to solve a variable here in order to get here, because if we solve this one first, then what will happen is we will still have to come back and solve these. There will be a break somewhere here. So if that makes sense, right? So again, this video, again, is for shakers, right? Game changers, entrepreneurs, people that want to dent the universe, right? You're in the right place if that is you. So if you're trying to scale your business and you're trying to get an edge above your competitors, then you are in the right place, my friend. So if you're tired, you might even be tired of like spending more like dollar on like marketers from the outside and promising you a bunch of stuff and never truly delivering. You might want to be sticking around if that's you, right? So the truth is, okay, that you can scale your internet-based business to $1,000, okay, or $1 million a month, knowing your way around ads, right? So the AdWord model. However, there's a big problem with this tech. It is still relatively new, and the information on YouTube is either outdated or regurgitated, creating an information overload. Because we're in this world now where information will fastly, with AI, because of learning-based models and knowledge-based work being eliminated, we will see that information will become irrelevant, because you can just click a button and then boom, the chat spits you out something. Obviously, you just type in a few words, it spits you out something. So really, information will become irrelevant. So there are other things we need to focus on, right? And again, like also not knowing which guru to listen to, right? You have this big shot saying this big guy saying this YouTuber saying this, and this all really drives us to a point where we have, like I said, information overload. And this is like a lot sometimes, right? You don't know what to do. I know how that feels like, right? So this is why we do what we do with Inside of Self-Built Systems, because we're not selling courses. We're not in the course selling game, right? We go and we build systems, self-built systems. We step into the companies. We build systems, we integrate them, we build sales teams, etc. We use all of the technology that is at our disposal to drive growth. And like obviously taking you through a little bit of a process, what that looks like here right now, right? So I'm gonna show you exactly and pinpoint out what areas you need to know and be aware of, like that you should be, how you can pivot and align yourself with the technology. That's why I keep saying that the technology is so important. So if we look at a few things, now the old way, if you look at some of the things that we like used to do in the old times, right, is that we would spin up some creatives and this would be time consuming and basically we would be guessing a lot, okay? We'd be guessing a lot. And we would want to train a pack of hungry wolves and, you know, go door to door, sell them all Wolf of Wall Street style and, you know, get that classic salesman archetype suit kind of like I'll sell you in like a phone box kind of effect, right? What we would do is we would pick audiences on an advertising perspective where we would, you know, you pick audiences, run ads, use consistent naming schemes, right? You try to be the GOAT and you try to outmaster Facebook, you know, the algo. So you would try to target better than Facebook and you would fight ROAS of like 1.97, right? So now the new way, the Chad that we want to tap into, the inner Chad, is that, or rather I call this the inner like Chad or Batman or 007, whatever you want to call it, man. Just do you, right? Just you want to be 007? Then be 007. If you want to be Chad, then be Chad. Just do you. You know what I'm saying? So spin up creatives using basically generative AI. It is much faster, it's higher quality, and an example of generative AI is that you can go into, this is one of the first things that popped off that everyone basically knows about, but they still don't know how to optimize that to actually grow their business. And as I said, we'll look into this. So what we want to do is we want to train salespeople and your marketing people, right, on how to use the AI, right, how to feed it the correct inputs to produce the correct outputs. And there's so much efficiency in this process simply because of the nature of the technology, right? And we're going to specifically look at LLMs, language learning models, right? It's one of the many AIs that are around, right? So after finding product market fit, okay, specifically working with an offer and the volume and the quantity, okay, or rather the quality of the creatives, and you basically test in the ad account or like decisive for sustainable scaling and basically the success of any B2B or, you know, D2C brand. So what we're going to look at is four types in this new way, right? Is four types of creatives in the ad account. Basically it's like data-based introductions of new concepts or angles, right? We're in this intent. We're going to get to intent-based data, but don't want to jump the gun. It's real juicy stuff, and I promise you, if you're on the ball with this, you're a marketer, you're anyone that grows a business, you are gonna love what I have to share right now. So database introductions of new concepts or angles, database like iterations, big creative swings, and ignoring all controversial creative rules, right? So this is basically the 007, baby. You want to step into those shoes, you know, you want to step into who you are becoming. So this basically occurs 9 out of 10, right? It occurs with 9 out of 10 cases through creative freedom for content creators, right? And we're looking at anything north of 4.32% when you're really Batman, right? With your ROAS. So yeah, so why do we need data? Okay, so there are two sets here, specifically two data sets required to build something useful. Number one, it includes environmental data, and number two, here we have customer data, right? So these are activities that the customer is trying to do or the path that they are on specifically, okay, and the forces acting and guiding upon them, right? So why do we need both data streams? So having one data stream without the other is like trying to navigate a dangerous jungle with perfectly functioning like ears blindfolded. To properly navigate through the jungle, one needs to open up the second stream and take off the blindfold. Okay, so Microsoft is changing the way we think that search should be monetized, right? Marketers' lives are changing. If you're a growth person, you will want to listen up. So can Microsoft AI-powered Bing take on Google? So we've recently seen what has happened, right? So we had ChatGPT that exploded. Then we had the announcement of where the CEO of Microsoft was like, you know, kind of like chilling, like a giant frogfish, you know, just chilling. Frogfish just sinks to the bottom, chills there. because we know that he ran Bing, right? So the CEO of Microsoft ran Bing, and now, like, with all this fuss, emotion, and collateral that's happening, we can now clearly see what the intentions were for the CEO of Microsoft, right? He was just chilling, and he used to run Bing, right? He was just chilling, and now we're seeing exactly what is happening. He's taking a shot. The two big dogs are at it, right? With inside of the search game. So Microsoft Bing, as I've said, acted like a giant frogfish, just chilled there. And because what we have seen is that AdWords has an 81%, AdWords has specifically 81% of Google's revenue. And we have Bing, which is 5% of their overall revenue. So Microsoft is playing some really, really good chess here, right? So Microsoft is changing the way we think search in general should be monetized. So we have Microsoft AI will be free, where they will, obviously they're going to integrate with ChatGPT, but we saw what happened, right? It hinted at the fact that it's sentient and that's a bit not really optimized where we used to this as humans interconnecting with the robot, right? So, but hey, let me know what you think about that. Maybe just leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Do you think that it being sentient is a threat to us? Do you think that it is going to eat up the world? Let me know what you think, right? So the release specifically here, the public version, basically the release, they released a version to the public, fully integrated through search, sending traffic with a blue link. That's what we have seen, right? So as I've said, Satya Nadella pulled a good old mob boss kind of move, right? The day before Google announced that little thing that came out, right? Their little flop that cost them 100 billion in market share. Satya Nadella did his little dance and he introduced, right? So because he is the investor inside of OpenAI, obviously Microsoft put a lot of money into OpenAI. So Microsoft is basically, all they're doing is disrupting Google and taking market share. They have no plan yet to make money, okay? But they're just taking market share, right? And that's basically leaving, that's basically having a backdoor with, investing into OpenAI, as I've said. So Microsoft is playing some beautiful chess, and I love chess. I don't know, you guys know me, but I love chess, right? So this is going to shake a lot of things up, especially if you are a marketer and even if you're a media buyer, right? Your world is about to be rocked. So you will want to have to listen about this. And I've said that all old school marketing agencies are being phased out at a rapid pace. And if you are not on the ball here, you will be one of them, okay? So can Google catch up to the quality of the chat experience where chat does not lend itself to the ad monetization model that Google runs? Okay, so the incentives basically get destroyed, and that's the threat here to the open web itself. Because let's look at a relationship here real quick. The internet itself, right, has grown because of giants like Google, okay, and content creators placing their content on the web in exchange for organic traffic, right? That's what's been happening, right? So you have content, number one, you have search, and you have paid ad, right? So now the relationship here is we have the publishers and we have the aggregators. So we need to go out and we need to create a competitive moat, which is the point number 3 here, right? So if you are a marketer, right, or if you are someone that's growth orientated, or if you just want to simply grow your business, right, the way that you generate leads for a business will change dramatically. And how can I say this? Because Google has already tried to shift metrics away from direct conversions to influence, right? So that specific point right there proves that Google knows that the internet is changing. So what does this mean, Jay? So I've read an article the other day and I couldn't find it when I was typing up this video for you guys. I couldn't find it, but if I do, I will put it down below. So I read an article that stated that Google and Facebook are trying to push people away from thinking about it specifically. So paid advertising in terms of directly, you put $1 into the machine and you get 3 back, or you put $1 into the machine and you get 1.5 back, right? So they're pushing people away from that thought. So, and it can be measured through AdWords and Facebook. So the reason for AdWords being such a behemoth of a business model is exactly the reason, because you can put $1 into the machine and get 3 back, or 1.5, etc., right? The relationship there is very clear. Now, the problem between that is that Google and Facebook is going to try to solve the impact that chat has on AdWords. What will happen is your ad specifically will get shown, but it will not get clicked on. And, obviously we can see this within future snippets, right? As an example. So let's assume that chat specifically is an evolution of Google Future Snippets, but it is just a better version because it can give you all of the answers within that page. And the reason, for example, Future Snippets was great for Google is because it kept you on the page, and Google, basically, that little blocky, right? And consuming that content, it gives you the answer in the little box, as I've just said, the little thing, right? And you consume that because, obviously you can still see the ads around that. And here's an example of obviously what the experience is with chat. If you've never used chat, then better hop on that. Like, anyway, so problem with chat is that actually that it does not lend itself specifically up to you looking at it, anything else, because it's kind of like you're just engaging with another person, right? So it has two little things. It has a dichotomy, right? So a really good example of a company that tried to monetize this whole thing was WhatsApp. They put AdWord-like model inside of WhatsApp, and it never worked, right? So when Future Snippets were added to Google, it reduced the organic click-through rate by 20%. I want you to read that again, okay? So chat is like specifically like a 10 or a 100x version of snippets, right? Of Future Snippets, because which could specifically, kill the AdWords model. I'm not saying it's going to, I'm just saying it could, okay? So there's always probability at play here. So what Google might do is they say that, hey, don't worry so much about clicking the ad and converting, and they, obviously they're going to show you the benefits and of the view through conversion. So someone basically saw your ad here, someone saw your ad, and at that point they converted. So the ad specifically influenced, or basically influenced that the conversion. And if we can change the way that people think about our ad format, people might think it valuable, right? So Google is basically now at war. Okay, so they're greater, like the greater the selection of the publishers they have, it's basically their differentiation, and they are still in a horrible place. So they are really in a tough spot, right? So intent-based data, here is this beautiful point I wanted to make here. I put here that intent-based data is going to be the new oil of the world, and here's why. So one of the reasons why Google is so good, because it captures intent, right? Someone searches and enters a word, and that word specifically then matches them with stuff, right? And they have the higher intent, so of them becoming customers at a much higher rate than what would cost for most other channels. So in the specific in the world where AI, now listen to this, in the world where AI and chat-driven search are most popular, okay, the internet does not go away. They still want to sell the same amount of people who are out here wanting to be interested in those things, okay? So what happened is that something like ChatGPT is amazing at capturing the highest intent people. So it is not good at capturing people who are like, you know what, I don't really want it, I'm just, here to do a little bit of research, and I'm maybe going to stumble upon your thing, and you're going to convince me through a lot of marketing to buy your thing. And that's obviously, that is kind of like that's what I want thing. And, that I specifically this thing, that you want this thing, and that's, you don't have real intent for the thing, right? So you're not really going to increase someone's intent that way. That's my point there. So if I confuse you there, read this part again, okay? So, because you have to wrap your head around this. It's something that boggled my mind, and I'm still, processing it, thinking about this. So that's a big chain, okay? And that is going to be a really, really hard for a lot of marketers to have wrap their heads around. That's, as I just said, right? So one of the implications is that brand marketing is going to move closer to performance marketing, away from awareness marketing long-term, and more into brands' ability to drive intent. Okay, and we will measure it through the highest intent capturing channels like search. And it's going to be very, very different towards how things work today. So Google, Microsoft, and other whales will get into the intent data selling game. Okay, the better the data, the better the inputs, the better the outputs, the better the feedback, the better the iterations, the more people you can sell. So Google, Microsoft, and other whales, okay, as I've said, will get into that game, right? So we are in the world where the number of autonomous searches will plummet because they need people signed in. Because when they're signed in, they need to specifically track and train the model, right? And specifically then map their interests and the data specifically to the person and the company so that they can sell it, right? And that's kind of like a bam moment where like your antennas should be like firing and going everywhere, because if you're a growth orientated person, you truly have to understand what that means, right? It's something that you have to wrap your head around, okay? So because once I have that specific like intent data, right? Which, I don't have today as a marketer, okay? I can do all kinds of things with that data, right? So basically one specific thing you can do is, obviously different ad targeting and much better customized email nurturing campaigns. A lot of things we already do today would be way better if you can get into that specific intent data selling game, right? So how the web works, okay? That specific mechanism is going to change because of intent matching. Things will really, really heat up, okay? So imagine if like Microsoft, for an example, can pipe all of that data back into LinkedIn. You get what I'm saying? So let's frame this to put things into perspective, right? People started by searching for things based on word, okay? And then they moved for a phrase, and now we are moving to a more advanced set of instructions, and you can also refer to them as prompts, which is what's happening right now with ChatGPT and Bing, okay? And even if you look at Bard or Baidu, right? So the next version of that is specifically once when you have logged in, okay? You have a feedback experience, okay? So the chat is going to do it's going to do you better at specifically what search is, right? And it is already doing that because we have a specific chat assistant search. And when that then specifically means that AI has a real role in intent, like basically driving activities, right? So that specifically might encourage all companies to have a much better public available data to feed the AI models. And it is going to force individuals and companies to work in the public because they specifically want all of their information to be consumed by these AI models, right? So this is a lot of stuff, right? So it's like the next version of crawling the web. You're going to want your information included in these models. And if it is not created in the public, it is just not going to happen, right? So again, really, really, really mind like that kind of effect, right? You have to have the like, and then you have to allow that to filter through and really think about this, right? Go for a walk, go get a coffee, sit down, watch this video again, and think about it. Because I promise you, just watching this video once, it's not going to make sense. The first time I really got deep into this stuff, I did not make sense to me. I had to sit with this and truly understand the first, second, and third order consequences of how this rolls down, and also understand, the tech evolving everything around it, right? So take some time with this. And because the average marketer or human won't be able to wrap their heads around this, right? It's a bit high level, and I know that you guys are really, really smart, and you guys will get this like this. Just spend some time with this, right? So next point we have here is around the incentives, right? So chat, specifically the AI, will suck all of the info on your business and be able to recommend it to people, okay? It's based upon popularity and user reviews, and that is really, really interesting, right? So brand marketing will become so much more important because of driving intent, okay? Educational, information agnostic, of human connection, and specifically point of view, okay, is going to be commoditized, and you need to have educational content that is connected to a person or a creator, their beliefs, and their points, specifically the points of view of passion and personality. All these elements will come together because if we're surrounded by a bunch of robots, what do people love the most? They love human interaction. Okay, that's why we watch movies by other people, and when it's all artificially like infused, we are losing human touch, right? So that's really great examples of this, okay, is Mr. Beast. You can just go and study Mr. Beast and see what he's doing, and then you can look at the goats, right? You can look at LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and their connection with Nike, and how it has allowed Nike to stay superior or to grow even to a more superior status delta, right? So as I said, Nike sneaker example, but what that does to the brand is in the whole effect. That's why like LeBron James, makes the kind of money that he makes from Nike, right? So because when information is commoditized, you need human connection to basically to personality and points of view, as I've said, and that is how you differentiate brands and their needs, okay? Their personalities, points of view, etc. So they will need creators to partner up with more than ever before because of all this stuff that's happening. I hope I made my point there, right? So the silver lining as a growth-oriented person is you will have to guess less, which is great, right? We know how that guessing game works. So take your business and plug it into the AI and feed it all of the web info, all of your customer call recordings, everything you could ever know about your website and your customers. Tingling. You can do all these things yourself. You have kind of like two options here. You can do all of these things yourself, right? You can spend like $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 on cheap marketers where you might be losing money, you might be losing time, in this whole process. It's very time consuming to understand all this stuff, okay? And it's going to cost you a lot of mental capital and a lot of pain understanding this stuff. Or you can simply just go ahead and work with one of our engineers. I mean, you can go out, you can find an engineer, you can try to explain them all this stuff. Or like I said, you can just simply hop on with Several Systems and we can get you started like on that flyer start, like Usain Bolt, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going to do here for you. I mean, that's two options, right? I mean, at the end of the day, there's a few things that we're going to look at. We're going to help you capture that intent-based data so it will it's going to blow your mind, right? How accurate your data sets will become and the best insights, you will have the best insights on your customer, your product, all those things. And it might be hidden in plain sight and you just can't see it because, we'll help you discover a whole new world of that intent-based data, right? So we're going to look at product usage data. We're going to look at customer support calls. We're going to look at support calls in general and sales calls, right? Why? I'm going to explain now why. Because all this data will be a complete game changer for you, right? Because what we're going to do is we're going to build you a pack of AI wolves. So your salespeople really, really understanding the tech and knowing how to specifically feed the tech the right data, right? So specifically that they know your customers and everything about your product and your offers, etc., right? They don't need to sleep, they don't need to eat, they don't get tired, they just get to work like clockwork, you know what I'm saying? So they train off of your sales calls so that they can answer in the language of your sales guys or girls, right? So now imagine you have like a SaaS business with a freemium model, okay? And you're specifically, you're interacting with like ChatGPT. Instead of going and signing up for a free product that you have, specifically like with adept.ai, you can go look at Adept and how they do it. I just wanted to get this info out, but you can literally, I'll put a Adept link down below and you can go and check it out. So instead of going and signing up with for a free product, you can have an AI like Adept. You can go set it up. There's a free version, and you can basically set up a free version of your software, and you take all of your data sets, basically set up a traditional proof of concept in a real working version of that software for your specific company that you could now automatically go and start using within a few minutes, right? And that's mind-boggling because that will change the way we package everything. You can go look at traditional SaaS softwares and how it's packaged, right? The whole model itself. So I would say it's time to collect, some data. And if you're still not sure about this whole thing, you might want to start collecting that data, right? So we want to change, and we got Clubhouse, right? And now everything will change. It's just a little marketing joke, but anyway. So the intent will change dramatically in the next or rather, not the intent and the internet will change, right? Dramatically in the next 6 to 12 months, as I've said this before. people, specifically the people, business owners with the best domain expertise, understanding of how to use leverage. So if you're the top G lawyer, you are the top dog engineer, you are the top dog car repair guy, whatever education guy, tech guy, you will be able to dominate once you understand how to align yourself with the tech and how to really go about crafting the most efficiency in your process, being able to crack the sales oriented thing and marketing oriented thing with Sentinel AGI, as I've just explained it here. And again, with the best domain expertise, your skills are what matter, because everyone is going to start relying on AI and forgetting about their actual skills, which is this whole factor of what we're seeing. You still need your brains, right? Humans, at the end of the day, still programmed AI. So you get that whole relationship, right? So again, if you own a carpet business, if you own a material business, right? You're gonna be better than all of your competitors, or even if you're a fitness guy, right? You're gonna be the best strength and conditioning guy or fitness guy if you have the best domain expertise and you understand this relationship with the AI, okay, with the technology. So let's quickly sum it up, okay? We need the data to feed the machines, and the better, the faster, and basically the better, the faster, okay? And the better it can learn, and the better the output. So marketers' lives are changing, okay? Microsoft is changing the way that we think search should be monetized. So what we want to do is we want to create a competitive moat, okay? If you're a marketer, the way you work or generate leads for a business will change dramatically, okay? And how can I basically say this is because Google has already tried to shift metrics away from direct conversions to influence, okay? So intent-based data is the new oil of the world. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first on the selfbuildsystems.io show. Anyways, so incentives are changing. Brand marketing will become much more important because of driving intent, okay? So if you've made it this far, you are a real player, real top G. So if you found value in this video, please leave a like and a comment down in the description down below. Tell me what you think about this video. Tell me if you think I know nothing about this stuff. I don't know what I'm talking about. Tell me if you like this video. Because at the end of the day, it is only your feedback that can allow me to make better videos and to produce better, more accurate information. So I would really appreciate that. So, and again, if you want help installing Sentinel AGI into your business, go ahead, click the link right below this video, and you can book in a call with me or with one of my team members, and we'll create you an action plan. We'll walk you through step by step, and we'll show you exactly how you can implement it, even if you decide not to work with us. We're just really here to help and really drive efficiency in the growth of your project. So that's pretty much it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Jean-Jacques from Self-Built Systems, and I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, go out into this world and do something great for somebody today. Bye-bye.